Most people think they're prepared until the lights go out forever. An electromagnetic pulse isn't some distant sci-fi nightmare anymore. It's a real threat that governments and military experts have been warning about for decades. One pulse, whether from a high-altitude nuclear detonation, a solar superstorm, or even a coordinated terrorist attack, could send us back to the 1800s in seconds. No power grid, no communication, no transportation, no modern life as we know it. And here's the harsh truth. Most survival kits won't save you when an EMP hits. You need specific items that can survive the pulse itself and help you navigate a world where everything electronic is dead. If you're serious about protecting yourself and your family from this catastrophic scenario, then stay with me, because what I'm about to share could mean the difference between surviving and becoming another statistic. And if you want to be ahead when disaster strikes, subscribe now and turn on notifications, because this channel delivers the survival knowledge that could save your life when everything collapses. Let's get something straight from the start. An EMP doesn't just shut off your phone or kill your car battery temporarily. It fries the circuits permanently. The electromagnetic wave interacts with electronic components and metal conductors, creating voltage and current surges that destroy semiconductors, microchips, and integrated circuits instantly. This means your smartphone, your laptop, your modern vehicle, your GPS, your solar charge controllers, even your refrigerator becomes a useless brick. The 2008 EMP Commission report to Congress estimated that within 1 year of a nationwide EMP attack, up to 90% of the American population could perish from starvation, disease, and societal collapse. That's not speculation. That's what happens when the infrastructure that feeds, medicates, and protects 300 million people disappears overnight. Water treatment plants stop working. Hospitals lose power with no backup that survives. Supply chains evaporate. And most people, completely dependent on technology, have no idea how to get clean water, grow food, or defend themselves without calling for help on a phone that no longer works. So what do you actually need in an EMP survival kit? Not the generic flashlight and canned food combo that every amateur prepper thinks will cut it. You need gear that either has no electronics, uses older technology that's naturally EMP resistant, or is properly shielded. You need items that address the core survival priorities: water, food, shelter, security, communication, navigation, fire, and medical care, all without relying on anything modern or digital. These 8 categories aren't just suggestions. They're the foundation of post-EMP survival, and each one requires specific equipment that most people overlook completely. First, water purification without electronics. In a post-EMP world, municipal water systems fail within hours. Pumps stop, treatment facilities go dark, and contaminated water becomes one of the fastest killers. You cannot survive more than 3 days without water, and drinking untreated water from rivers, lakes, or even wells can give you cholera, dysentery, giardia, or hepatitis A, any of which can kill you when there's no hospital to run to. Your EMP kit must include manual water purification methods. A quality gravity-fed ceramic water filter is essential. These use no electricity and can filter thousands of gallons. The British Birkenfeld and similar systems have been purifying water in disasters for over a century. Pair this with water purification tablets, both iodine and chlorine dioxide types, because they work when your filter clogs or breaks. Include a stainless steel pot for boiling, the most reliable purification method that's been used for millennia. And here's what most people miss. You need a way to transport and store water. Heavy-duty collapsible water containers, at least 20 gallons worth, because when the taps run dry, you'll be walking to the nearest water source, and it might be miles away. Also pack a portable hand pump water filter like the Sawyer Mini or Life Straw, small enough to carry but capable of filtering up to 100,000 gallons. Water is survival priority number 1, and your kit must address it without any dependency on power or electronics. Second, non-perishable food and manual preparation tools. Your refrigerator is dead, your microwave is fried, and grocery stores will be looted within 48 hours of an EMP. You need food that lasts years without refrigeration and requires minimal preparation. Freeze-dried meals, rice, beans, lentils, pasta, and canned goods should form the bulk of your supply. Aim for at least a 3-month stockpile per person, but 6 months is better. However, food is useless if you can't prepare it. Your kit needs a manual can opener, not an electric one, and make it military grade because cheap ones break. Include a hand-crank grain mill if you're storing wheat berries, which last 30 years when stored properly. You'll also need a reliable non-electric cooking method. A rocket stove or a simple camping stove that runs on wood or propane works, but propane supplies will eventually run out, so learn to cook over open fire. Pack cast iron cookware because it's indestructible and works over any heat source. And here's a critical detail. Learn to forage and hunt now before the EMP hits. Your stored food will eventually run out, and if you don't know which wild plants are edible or how to trap game, you'll starve surrounded by food you can't identify. Books on edible plants and survival hunting, printed on paper, not digital, belong in your kit because knowledge weighs nothing and lasts forever. Third, shelter and warmth without modern heating. When the grid goes down in winter, people in cold climates start dying from hypothermia within days. Your home heating system, whether it's electric, gas with electronic ignition, or oil-fired, won't work after an EMP. Your kit must include ways to stay warm and dry without electricity. A quality cold weather sleeping bag rated to at least 0 degrees Fahrenheit is non-negotiable. Add a military-grade wool blanket, because wool retains heat even when wet, unlike synthetic materials. Mylar emergency blankets are lightweight and reflect body heat. Pack several. For shelter, a durable tent or tarp with paracord gives you weather protection if you need to bug out. But here's where most people fail. They don't have a non-electric heat source. A wood-burning stove or fireplace is ideal, but if you're in an apartment or modern home without one, you're in trouble. Portable propane heaters like the Mr. Heater Buddy work, but again, propane is finite. The real solution is mastering fire starting without matches or lighters, which will also eventually run out. Your kit needs multiple fire starting methods, waterproof matches, a magnesium fire starter, a ferrocerium rod, and char cloth. Learn to start fire with a bow drill or hand drill as a backup, because those require nothing but wood and knowledge. Shelter also means protecting yourself from the elements during travel. Pack rain gear, sturdy boots, and layered clothing made from wool or synthetic fibers that dry quickly. Cotton kills in cold, wet conditions because it holds moisture against your skin. Fourth, security and self-defense in a lawless world. This is the part that makes people uncomfortable, but it's reality. Within weeks of an EMP, society breaks down. No police response, no rule of law, no consequences for violence. Desperate people do desperate things, and your supplies make you a target. Your EMP kit must include weapons and the training to use them. Firearms are the most effective means of defense, and in a post-EMP world, you want reliable, simple weapons that don't depend on electronics. A shotgun for close-range defense, a rifle for hunting and longer-range protection, and a handgun for personal carry. But here's the key. Ammunition becomes currency after disaster, so stockpile it now, thousands of rounds if you can afford it. Beyond firearms include non-lethal options. Pepper spray, a tactical knife, a machete for both defense and utility, and a solid walking stick or baton. Learn hand-to-hand combat basics because not every threat comes with warning. And here's what most preppers completely overlook. Home fortification. Your kit should include materials to secure your home, heavy-duty locks, door reinforcement bars, window covers, and even razor wire for perimeter security if you're in a rural location. You also need night vision, or at least quality flashlights with red lenses to preserve your night vision, because threats don't only come during daylight. Security isn't just about weapons, it's about awareness, deterrence, and the willingness to protect what's yours when there's no one else to call. Fifth, communication without cell towers or internet. After an EMP, your smartphone is a paperweight. Cell towers are down, the internet doesn't exist, and you're completely isolated unless you have alternative communication methods. Your kit needs a hand crank or battery-powered emergency radio, preferably one that receives AM, FM, and NOAA weather bands. This lets you receive information from any government broadcasts or emergency services that manage to get back online. But here's the critical piece. Two-way communication. Handheld ham radios that are analog and stored in a Faraday cage can survive an EMP and allow you to communicate over long distances without infrastructure. Get your ham radio license now and learn how to use these devices, because when disaster hits, it's too late to figure out frequency bands and radio protocol. CB radios are another option for shorter range communication and don't require a license. Walkie-talkies with a good range, at least 5 miles, let you coordinate with family or group members. And don't forget the low-tech solutions. Whistles for signaling, signal mirrors for long-distance visual communication, and even a set of pre-arranged meeting points and times with your family in case you're separated when the EMP hits. Communication is survival because isolated individuals don't last long when society collapses. Sixth, navigation without GPS or smartphones. Your car's navigation system is dead, Google Maps doesn't exist, and most people under 40 have never used a paper map in their lives. If you need to bug out or travel to a safer location after an EMP, you'll be navigating like people did for thousands of years, with maps and compasses. Your kit must include detailed topographic maps of your region, your state, and any routes to potential bug-out locations. Laminate them or keep them in waterproof cases. Include a quality compass, preferably a lensatic military compass because it's more accurate and durable than cheap recreational ones. Learn how to use map and compass together before disaster strikes because trying to figure out declination and bearing calculations while fleeing danger is a recipe for getting lost and dying. Also pack a backup button compass in case your primary one is damaged or lost. And here's an old school skill that could save your life. Learn celestial navigation. Knowing how to find direction using the sun, stars, and moon means you can navigate even if you lose all your equipment. The North Star, the Southern Cross, the sun's east to west movement. These are navigation tools that can't be destroyed by any pulse or disaster. Navigation is freedom because if you can't find your way to safety, your other preparations are worthless. Seventh, fire starting and light without electricity. Fire is survival. It purifies water, cooks food, provides warmth, signals for help, and keeps predators away. Your ability to make fire in any condition determines whether you live or die in a long-term disaster. Your EMP kit needs redundant fire starting methods because if you can't make fire, you're in serious trouble. Pack waterproof matches in multiple containers. Store them separately so you don't lose everything at once. Include several Bic lighters. They're cheap, reliable, and work in most conditions. Add a magnesium fire starter and learn to use it. Magnesium burns at over 3,000 degrees and can ignite damp tinder when nothing else will. A ferrocerium rod, also called a ferro rod, produces hot sparks and works when wet, and it lasts for thousands of strikes. Include char cloth or commercial fire starting cubes because getting a flame going with damp natural tinder is incredibly difficult without experience. Learn to identify and prepare natural tinder. Birch bark, dry grass, pine needles, fatwood, and cattail fluff are all excellent fire starters if you know where to find them. And here's a skill that separates survivors from casualties. Learn to build a fire in rain, snow, and wind. Practice now because conditions won't be ideal when you actually need it. For light, forget battery-powered flashlights as your primary source because batteries die and you can't recharge them. Instead, stockpile candles, lots of them. They provide light and heat for hours and require no technology. Oil lamps with extra wicks and lamp oil give you long-term lighting solutions. And for portable light, a headlamp with extra batteries stored in a Faraday cage can work if it survives the pulse. But your real backup is firelight because humans survived for millennia with nothing else. Eighth, medical supplies and knowledge for when hospitals don't exist. After an EMP, emergency services collapse. No ambulances, no hospitals with power, no pharmacies restocking medications. A simple infection, a broken bone, or uncontrolled bleeding can become a death sentence if you don't have medical supplies and knowledge. Your EMP kit needs a comprehensive first aid kit, and I don't mean the cheap plastic box with a few band-aids. You need trauma supplies, tourniquets, Israeli bandages, hemostatic gauze for stopping severe bleeding, chest seals for puncture wounds, and splints for fractures. Include a full range of medications, antibiotics if you can legally obtain them, pain relievers, antidiarrheals, antihistamines, and any prescription medications your family needs, stockpiled as much as possible. Add surgical tools, scissors, tweezers, scalpels, and sutures for closing wounds. Include a manual blood pressure cuff and stethoscope because monitoring vital signs could save someone's life. But here's the brutal truth. Supplies mean nothing without knowledge. Take a wilderness first aid course, learn CPR, understand how to treat shock, infections, burns, and fractures without professional help. Get books on wilderness medicine and survival medicine, actual printed books, because you won't have internet tutorials when you're trying to save someone's life. Learn which wild plants have medicinal properties. Yarrow for stopping bleeding, willow bark for pain relief, plantain for wound treatment. Knowledge of herbal medicine could keep you alive when pharmaceutical supplies run out. And here's something most people never consider: dental emergencies. Toothaches and infections can be excruciating and deadly. Pack dental first aid supplies, temporary filling material, clove oil for pain, and dental tools for extractions if absolutely necessary. Medical preparedness is about having supplies, knowledge, and the mental toughness to perform medical procedures on yourself or loved ones when there's no other option. These 8 categories form the core of EMP survival, but here's what ties them all together: training and mindset. You can have the best gear in the world, but if you don't know how to use it under stress, you'll fail. Practice with every item in your kit. Start fires in bad weather. Navigate with your compass. Purify water from questionable sources. Shoot your weapons regularly. Learn to cook over open flame. Practice treating injuries. Build muscle memory now, so that when the crisis hits, your hands know what to do, even when your mind is overwhelmed. And develop the survival mindset, because most people die in disasters not from lack of supplies, but from panic, denial, and inability to adapt. Accept that EMP is a real possibility, prepare for it systematically, and commit to surviving no matter what it takes. One more thing, proper storage is critical. Many of the items I've mentioned, especially anything with circuits or electronics like radios, need to be stored in a Faraday cage to survive an EMP. A Faraday cage blocks electromagnetic radiation, and you can make one from a metal garbage can with a tight-fitting lid, lined with cardboard or foam to prevent contents from touching the metal. Store your radios, spare batteries, and any other electronics inside. Make sure everything is wrapped in non-conductive material, and keep the lid sealed. Test your cage with a cell phone. If the phone receives signal inside, your cage doesn't work. Also, don't keep all your supplies in one location. Distribute your gear between your home, your vehicle, and a bug-out location, if you have one, because if you lose one cache, you're not left with nothing. The reality is this: an EMP will change everything overnight. The comfortable modern world disappears, replaced by a harsh survival situation that most people are completely unprepared for. Food, water, shelter, security, communication, navigation, fire, and medical care. These 8 areas cover the fundamentals of staying alive when technology fails. But preparation is only half the battle. The other half is community. Find like-minded people now, form mutual aid groups, share knowledge and resources, because lone individuals don't survive long-term disasters as well as organized communities do. Teach your family these skills, make plans, conduct drills, and build the resilience that comes from knowing you can handle whatever comes. Don't wait until the lights go out to realize you weren't ready. Every day you delay is a day you're gambling with your life and the lives of everyone you care about. Start building your EMP survival kit today, item by item, skill by skill, because when the pulse hits, there are no second chances, no do-overs, no calling for help. You're either prepared or you're a victim. The choice is yours and the clock is ticking. If you're committed to survival and want the knowledge that could save your life when everything falls apart, hit that like button, drop a comment with your biggest EMP concern, and share this with someone who needs to wake up before it's too late. And if you want to go deeper, you'll find in the pinned comment some guides and documents that can take your preparedness to the next level. Check them out when you're ready. This is about survival, not hope. Act now while you still can.